Nintendo King asks, what are your hopes for the newly announced Pokemon and Metroid Prime for the Switch? So obviously everyone's been wanting a Pokemon game for home console for a long time. They kind of gave us that on the GameCube with Pokemon Gale of Darkness and Pokemon Colosseum, but it didn't play like a traditional Pokemon game. It had its own story that kind of made it its own thing. And then with Metroid Prime, all we had was a title, but that title was still enough to make everybody go crazy if you've seen any of the reaction videos online. But what are your hopes for the upcoming Metroid Prime and Pokemon game? Let's start with Pokemon, then we'll go to Metroid Prime. Cece, what are your hopes for Pokemon on Switch?
I was actually really excited when I heard rumors of Pokemon Stars, but then I just heard of the Pokemon Sun and Moon, something adding onto it for the 3DS. And then I think I heard something about like a Pokken Tournament, right? For the Switch?
Right.
Which I actually had for the Wii U, right? The one where you play as the Pokemon and you battle like other Pokemon.
Yeah.
That was really fun to play like with my boyfriend. I actually enjoyed that one. So I think that one on the Switch would be like fun also. But I do want like a legit, like you said, Pokemon game where it plays like a traditional Pokemon game. Although I did really enjoy, you mentioned Pokemon Gale of Darkness, is that what it's called?
Yeah, they were the GameCube. Might have been on the Wii as well, I'm not sure.
I actually liked both of them. I played them both. And the Pokemon Colosseum. So I would really like a Pokemon game for like another home console because I've been waiting for that forever. And I remember when my stepdad sold most of our GameCube games, he had gotten rid of the Pokemon ones. And I was just so sad because I still have my GameCube right here, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
There's no other home console Pokemon, and I want one.
It was really weird because like Nintendo knows people were wanting a home console Pokemon game that it was like Red and Blue or whatever, but on a home console plugged into a TV. And they made something that was halfway like it, and it doesn't really make sense because I'm sure those games did sell well on the GameCube, but they would have sold 10 times more if it was a traditional Pokemon game instead of what they ended up being. So the fact that they're actually like saying and confirming that yes, we are getting a mainline Pokemon game on the Switch is really cool. What are your hopes for it, Rick?
For Pokemon, I'd really like to see them reboot the series. There's been not in a sense of like making all new Pokemon and stuff like that. I mean, they've done that so many times in terms of just creating another 100 and something every other game or whatever. But I'd like to see them like just like start from scratch in terms of the backstory and all this other type of stuff that they already have, and do something original like how Kanto felt like Gen 1 felt when it first came out. I feel like stuff like Sun and Moon, it was cool and all, but it's starting to get really tired.
Yeah, to me, Sun and Moon seemed like sort of a refresh of the first generation where it wasn't like there was completely new Pokemon, but a lot of the newer Pokemon people were excited for were different variations, the Alola forms of the original 150. And then with Pokemon Go, it started out with just the Pokemon from Red and Blue, Yellow, or Red and Green if you're in Japan. And it was interesting because it brought all of the people that grew out of Pokemon back into it. For a while, it was like the #1 played mobile game. And then with Sun and Moon around the same time, it seemed like it was Nintendo's way, or Game Freak, the Nintendo company's way of like trying to dig their hands into the nostalgia people had as much as possible. So it would make sense with it seems like almost 1,000 different Pokemon now if they did just not necessarily start over with Red and Blue, but if they did like a refresh where they somehow combined everything that we know from modern Pokemon games with Red and Blue. Maybe have some of the new Pokemon in there too. I don't really know how they would do it, but I know it would be interesting if they did. They could even do something...
It'd be similar to like Fire Red and Leaf Green or something.
Yeah, like
but with a different story. Like, I don't know.
It would be really cool for that to happen. But yeah, like you were saying, different story. I would want it to be like, because the towns and the places that you would visit in the original Pokemon games were quite small, because they were being ran on in the original Game Boy. So it would be nice to see all of those places kind of remade and modernized to have like a much larger world, to where you go to Pallet Town and it's not just 3 or 4 houses. It's like the size of a village or something that you would see in a typical modern day game. Like if you go to Kakariko Village in Breath of the Wild, it's not huge, but it's big enough to fit a bunch of different people, a bunch of different houses, has a lot of things to do. And for a game to be coming to the Switch, a Pokemon game on the Switch, if you go to a town and there's just the Pokemon Center, 1 or 2 houses you can enter and that's it, it wouldn't really be that interesting or fun to explore. So if they remade Red and Blue to where it was like a lot more stuff to do, that would be really interesting. But then it kind of crosses the line of like some people getting upset that so much was changed from the original Pokemon games.
And that's what Sun and Moon had a lot of problems with the whole Kahuna thing and all that type of stuff. I didn't like that personally. It still felt like a gym battle and everything, but it didn't appeal to me.
All right.
But now that you mentioned it, it would be really awesome for them to include like the first 3 games in terms of like the regions, like Kanto, Johto, and Hoenn all in one, because it's going to be on a console. Being able to just like include almost like how Mario Odyssey is, and he can go to the different like areas and stuff like that.
That would be really cool, because like in Silver, Gold and Silver, you could actually, after you finished the main game, you could go back to Johto. So if it was a similar situation where you just went from one area to another, that would be really cool. Especially if they were all somehow connected, to where it wasn't like a large body of water or something separating the two, if it was all in the same world. But anyways, that's about everything that we have right now. So to end this up, why don't you go ahead and let the people know who you are and where they could find you, Rick.
Well, I'm Rick, otherwise known as RMFH. You guys can find my YouTube channel. It's RMFH Gaming, and my Twitter handle is also RMFH Gaming.
All right, and Cece, what is your YouTube and where can people find you?
Hey guys, Cece. On YouTube, I am Cessseeezy Gaming. For Twitch, I'm a little bit more active on there lately. It's twitch.tv/Hylian_CC.
All right. And is there any projects that you guys are working on right now that you would like people to look forward to? Rick?
I will be fighting Ganon, 3-heart challenge, naked. And in master mode.
All right.
So stay tuned for that.
And what about UCC? Anything that you're working on that you would like people to check out?
Nothing in particular that I'm working on, to be honest, because my focus has been mostly on streaming. But in terms of streaming, I'm happy to say that I am an affiliate and I now have emotes for people to use. So if you subscribe to me, you can use my Mifa emote. Look at how cute she is. So cute!
If you enjoy the videos on my channel, please consider subscribing, checking out my second channel focusing on movies and TV shows, and my Patreon, where you can join in as a guest in upcoming videos, watch new videos first, you can have me join in and collaborate on videos for your own channel, have custom artwork or custom avatars made of yourself or for your channel, and much more.